Creating interesting backgrounds can be really quite fun and quite easy. Start off with a collaged background, different types of papers that you've arranged in different places with gaps in between. Using white acrylic or emulsion paint, you can sponge onto raised surfaces like bubble wrap or textured wallpaper. This enables you to take a print of that surface on top of any of those areas of your design. You can also use things to sponge through, such as sequin waste, fruit nets, anything like that, where you can create marks and textures on the surfaces that you're working with. Spread these marks out into different areas across the design to try and give a little bit of continuity. You want to try and create contrast within other textures and surfaces. So what you could do is get yourself a darker colour and start to create a dry brush technique. With dry brushing, you put very little paint onto a dry brush and skim over the surface of your work. It then picks up on any raised areas, edges of collage, bits of textured wallpaper, and creates this sort of worn and weathered, distressed look. You can decide where you want to put this dry brush mark, how intense you want it to be to get the right sort of effect for your work. The dry brushing can start to partially obscure and cover up some of the text or the imagery that you've collaged down, and this can be used as part of your plan as well. You can mix the colour with a white to make a lighter shade, maybe start to sponge into certain areas, so you're giving it a contrast, you're giving it more depth, and you're giving yourself a colour to work back over the top of. You're building colours and textures gradually, assessing them as you go along. So here I'm rubbing into certain areas, a really light area of green, and then sponging darker bits into different areas afterwards. You can apply other colours in a similar way. I've used gold into certain areas, and then I start to bring in a darker colour where I've mixed the blue with the green to create a darker shade. You can then sponge white shapes back over the top. Now you have an interesting surface to develop in different ways.